Hello, and thank you for joining us after the service for our contribution to Black History Month. This morning's prelude you heard, "Steal Away to Jesus." The Negro spiritual is one of the most unique and meaningful art forms. Used during the slave days for work songs like Call and Response. A good example is Ain't Got Time to Die, which you heard Noel sing. And there were also songs born out of deepest sadness and grief. Songs of devotion and love of God like Give Me Jesus or Balm in Gilead, and also songs like Steal Away, which we heard, which are messages that only those in the community would understand. Couched in the language of religion and faith, these songs told where to meet and when the Underground Railroad was on its way. The gospel trains a-comin', for example. There were also songs of great joy like today's After the Service music, a song that almost every Sunday school child knows. He's got the whole world in his hand. Heard today in an arrangement by the incomparable Margaret Bonds. Margaret Jeanette Allison Majors was born on March 3rd in 1913 in Chicago, Illinois. Her father was an active force in the civil rights movement as a physician and writer. His work included, among other things, the founding of a medical association for Black physicians who were denied membership in the American Medical Association. Bonds grew up in her mother's home after her parents divorced when she was 4, and she was given her mother's maiden name, Bonds. Her mother was a musician and had many famous leading Black musicians visit the home, and she grew up with visitors such as Abby Mitchell, Will Marion Cook, and Florence Price, whose music you heard last week for the prelude. Composer, pianist, arranger, and teacher, she was one of the first Black composers and performers to gain recognition in the United States, and she is best remembered for her popular arrangements of African American spirituals and frequent collaborations with Langston Hughes, who was a prolific African American poet and writer. On June 15, 1933, Bonds performed with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, the first Black person in history to do so. She performed Concertino for piano and orchestra by John Alden Carpenter, and later returned the following year to perform the concerto in D minor written by her teacher, Florence Price. The Boston Symphony recently performed this concerto not long ago, and I believe that you can hear the concerto online now. I hope you enjoy this arrangement by Margaret Bonds. He's got the whole world in his hands.